Okay, have you heard about this? AI designing complex circuits and antennas, like all on its own. It sounds like something out of a movie.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. We're going to be looking at some research out of Princeton. They're using deep learning to do it, and it's way faster than the old ways of designing.
I am already so curious. So, what are the old ways and why are they so bad?
So, the way it usually works is you start with an existing template.
Okay.
And engineers spend forever tweaking it, simulating it, just hoping they land on something good.
Ugh, that sounds tedious.
It is, really. It's almost like trying to do a puzzle by just randomly moving the pieces around.
Yeah.
Not very efficient.
I bet that limits what you can design, too.
Yeah, exactly. You're kind of stuck with the same old options, and that can, make things less innovative.
Gotcha. So deep learning comes in and, changes everything.
Exactly. The researchers trained a convolutional neural network, which is a type of AI that's really good at seeing patterns. They trained it on, tons of existing designs.
Okay, deep dive for me here. What exactly is a convolutional neural network?
It's a specific kind of AI, and it's really good at finding patterns, like in images. You know how you can look at a picture and know it's a cat, even if you've never seen that cat before?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but for circuits and antennas, it learns what patterns make what kind of performance.
So it's like the AI becomes a virtual expert at designing.
Exactly. It uses all that data to create totally new designs, even stuff that was never in its training data.
Whoa, that's pretty amazing. Can you give me an example of something you came up with?
Yeah. So one example is a multiband antenna that can work on a bunch of different frequencies, all in a space way smaller than you could get before.
Huh.
Imagine cramming a bunch of different radios into the size of a pinhead.
Okay, what else?
Oh, they also designed a bandpass filter. It only lets certain frequencies through, which is important for, noise reduction and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the crazy thing is, this filter is only a tenth of a wavelength across. So small. Yeah. And that could totally change how we build electronics in the future.
Okay, so we're talking smaller and more efficient devices. But, what does that really mean for me?
Well, imagine your phone getting even better reception or faster internet, all thanks to a tiny antenna designed by AI.
Okay. Yep.
Or medical imaging devices that are even more powerful and can spot problems super early. The possibilities are huge.
That is cool. Okay, but those are just individual parts. Can this AI design, whole circuits?
Oh, yeah, for sure. They actually used it to design a broadband millimeter wave amplifier, which is a whole circuit with a bunch of parts working together.
I am officially interested in this AI design stuff. But how accurate is it really? Can we trust the AI to get it right?
Well, the cool thing is that they actually built and tested these AI designs in a real lab.
Okay.
And they worked really well. The results matched up with their simulations almost perfectly.
Whoa, so this isn't just theory, it could actually work in real life.
Yeah, totally. This research shows that AI can actually make real world designs and that they can be really good.
This is pretty amazing. It sounds like AI could revolutionize how we design everything.
It definitely has that potential. The speed, the accuracy, the innovations we're seeing here, it could change everything about how we design and build electronics.
Okay, that millimeter wave amplifier you mentioned, still kind of mind-blowing. The AI can design something so complex.
It is pretty amazing. And what's even more interesting? The way it did it. It used asymmetrical power division at the input and then a phase compensating combiner at the output.
Asymmetrical power division. Yeah, it sounds like a fancy way of saying it split the signal unevenly.
Yeah, pretty much.
But isn't it usually better to, split the signal equally between different paths?
Usually, yeah. But the AI actually figured out that by making things a bit uneven, it could get better performance over a wider range of frequencies.
So it's like breaking the rules and coming up with something even better.
Exactly. And that's one of the coolest things about this whole research project. It's not just about making the old designs better. It's about finding totally new ways to design things, stuff that we humans might never think of.
But, how does that asymmetry even work? I'm having trouble picturing how an uneven signal makes a better amplifier.
Okay, so think of it this way. Each path in the amplifier has slightly different characteristics, right?
Okay.
So by tweaking the power distribution, the AI can kind of fine-tune each path, compensating for any weaknesses and making the whole output stronger.
So it's like a balancing act,
Yeah.
finding that sweet spot where the whole system just works better.
Yeah, exactly. And the result is an amplifier that can handle a really wide range of frequencies, like a lot of the ones used in 5G networks.
This is really cool. So they didn't just simulate this thing, right? They actually built it. Does it work in the real world?
You know what? That's the best part. They didn't stop at simulations. They actually built it in a lab.
Yeah.
You know? And guess what? It worked great. Like, the measurements matched up with the simulations almost perfectly.
That's so impressive. So this is like actually useful, not just some theory.
Totally. This is like a proof of concept that AI can design real working devices.
What are the researchers saying about this? Like, how big of a deal do they think this is?
They think it could really speed up how fast we can innovate in electronics. Like, imagine being able to test thousands of designs in, like, hours instead of weeks or months.
Yeah, that would be insane.
And it's not just for, like, the big companies with tons of money. This tech could make it so smaller companies, even individual researchers, could make really advanced electronics.
I love that. It's like everyone gets access to a super powerful design tool. Okay, but where do humans fit into all of this? Are we all going to be replaced by robots?
That's a big question. A lot of people are asking that, actually.
Yeah.
But I think it's more about, like, working together. The AI is great at the complicated calculations and exploring all the options, but we still need people to decide what we want to make, you know?
So we set the goals, and the AI helps us get there.
Exactly. And as this technology gets better, we'll probably see, like, new jobs that combine design skills with knowing how to work with AI.
It's almost like learning a new language.
Yeah. The language of AI design. Learning how to tell the AI what we want it to make.
Okay, this is all super exciting, but I gotta ask, are there any limitations to this? Is there anything this AI can't do?
Well, even though it's super impressive, remember that AI is still just a tool.
Okay.
It's only as good as the information it learns from and the goals we give it.
So, bad info in, bad designs out.
Yeah, kinda. If the
Yeah.
data it learns from is incomplete or biased, then its designs will be too. And if we don't tell it exactly what we want, it might make something that looks cool, but isn't actually useful, you know?
So we still need, like, human intelligence to steer the AI in the right direction.
Definitely. It's all about teamwork. We need human expertise to make sure it's solving the right problems, that the designs are not only new, but also safe, reliable, and, good for the world.
That makes me feel better. I was starting to think AI was going to take our jobs.
It's a valid concern, but I think the future is more about working together, you know?
Yeah,
The best stuff will happen when humans and AI work together.
I like that. So what's next for this research? What are they going to do next?
They're already trying to make the AI even better, like training it with even more data, making its models more realistic, figuring out how to design even more complex stuff.
So they're pushing the limits.
Exactly. They think this tech could not just design parts, but like optimize entire systems, microchips, telecommunications networks, maybe even bigger stuff.
That's crazy. But before we get too carried away, there's one thing I'm still not totally clear on.
What's that?
You said this AI isn't just designing stuff, it's actually learning and adapting. What does that mean?
Oh, yeah. That's a great question. And it's honestly one of the coolest things about all this. So the AI doesn't just learn once during training. It can actually keep learning and improving its designs even after it's like out in the real world.
Wait, really? So it's like getting smarter over time.
Yeah, exactly. They call it generalization ability, and it's one of the most exciting things about this technology. It means the AI isn't just copying what it's seen before. It can come up with totally new designs that might even be better than anything we humans could make.
Yeah, it's kind of freaky, but also amazing. So it's not just a student anymore. It's like a master craftsman.
That's a great way to put it. And that generalization ability is super important for real world design because, the real world is messy.
Yeah.
There's always like random stuff happening and unexpected problems.
So the AI needs to be able to think on its feet, adjust to whatever it comes across.
Exactly. And this AI can actually do that. The researchers found that it could make designs that worked well even when there were variations in, like materials, the manufacturing, the environment it was in.
So it's like it really understands the physics, so it can handle the real world.
That's a good way to think about it. And that's what makes this so different. It means we can move past the old ways of doing things and make devices that are not just better, but also tougher and more reliable.
I can see a future where AI designs everything, not just our phones and computers, but like buildings and cars, everything.
Oh, yeah. Why not? AI designing medical devices for each person, or solar panels that change with the weather, We might even get new types of sensors that can detect stuff we've never even been able to measure before.
Whoa, now we're getting into sci-fi territory. But hey, maybe it's not so far off after all.
And that's what's so awesome about this research. It opens up so many possibilities, stuff we're just starting to understand.
Okay, if you're listening to this and feeling a little overwhelmed, you're not alone. This is a lot to take in, even for us.
Yeah.
But one thing is for sure. The future of design is here, and AI is a big part of it.
And it's up to us to make sure it's used to help everyone.
That's a great point. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty excited about all this.
Me too. It's an amazing time to be seeing all this happen.
To all our listeners, stay curious, keep asking questions, and maybe you'll be the one to discover the next big AI breakthrough. This is the Deep Dive, signing off.
Okay, so we've talked about how this AI can design antennas, filters, even whole circuits like that amplifier.
Right.
But you mentioned something about it being a quick study too, like it keeps learning. Can you remind me about that?
Oh, yeah. So remember, this is all based on deep learning.
Yeah.
And one of the really cool things about deep learning is something called generalization ability.
Yeah.
That means the AI can take what it's learned and apply it to totally new problems, even stuff it hasn't seen before.
So it's not just like remixing old designs, it's coming up with its own solutions.
Exactly. It's not just copying, it's really creating.
That's pretty incredible. But how does it do that?
Okay. Imagine you're teaching a kid to build stuff with blocks, right?
Okay.
You show them a few things, and after a while, they kind of get the idea how to balance things, how to make stuff stand up, how the shapes fit together.
Yeah.
Then they start building things you never even showed them.
Right.
It's kind of like that with the AI. It's not just remembering specific designs. It's figuring out the rules, the physics, the principles of design.
So it's like it's learning the fundamentals of electromagnetism.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really mind-blowing. But the real world is messy, right? Things don't always go perfectly. How do we know these AI designs will actually work out there?
Well, that's part of what makes this approach so cool. They actually tested these designs with all sorts of variations.
No.
Like different materials, different manufacturing processes, even different environments.
Yeah.
And they still worked.
So it's not just designing for, like, a perfect lab setting.
Nope, it's considering the real world. Think about how useful that could be for things like airplanes or satellites, where everything has to be super reliable.
Okay, yeah.
The AI can make designs that can handle that kind of uncertainty.
I'm starting to see the bigger picture here, that this isn't just about making things a bit faster or smaller.
Right. It's a whole new way of designing things. Like, we could make things we couldn't even imagine before.
That's the idea.
So what are some of the coolest things you think we could see with this tech?
Oh, all sorts of stuff, like medical devices that are custom made for each person, or solar panels that adapt to the weather. We could even have sensors that can measure things we've never been able to measure before.
That sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, right? But maybe the future is closer than we think. It's exciting.
Totally. This all started with a pretty simple question, right?
What's that?
What if we could teach a machine to design? And I think we got our answer.
Yeah, we did.
If you're listening and feeling kind of overwhelmed by all of this, don't worry. You're not alone. Even we're still trying to wrap our heads around all of this.
Yeah.
But the one thing I want everyone to remember is the future of design is all about humans and AI working together.
That's a great point. It's not about one replacing the other. It's about partnership.
Absolutely. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. It's been a fascinating conversation.
Yeah, it really has.
To all our listeners, stay curious, keep exploring, and you never know, maybe you'll be the one to make the next big AI discovery. This is The Deep Dive, signing off.